It looks like an AEW star is gone from the company and could be at TNA against all odds. Plus, we're going to talk about the likelihood of a WWE star showing up there. If you guys don't like working relationships, then this video might not be for you.
Yes.
Welcome back to the Ango Show. I want to kick things off with AJ Styles, who was talking about potentially going to TNA. And it's a very interesting concept because obviously he is contracted to the WWE and nobody really knows if WWE will be sending out talent to TNA. Now, with that being said, there has been some talks of TNA utilizing WWE stars. And of course, AJ Styles historically being considered a TNA legend, it just makes sense that he would go. Now, in a new interview with Cultaholic, he says on a possible crossover return to TNA, he says, well, I would say that hopefully something like that happens. It's good not only for talent in WWE to go to TNA and TNA talent to go to WWE, but it's better for the younger talent to get into the ring with some people who have different styles. He also goes on to say, it's very important that we are well-rounded and you can't do all of that in NXT. So the fact that we're going to be able to do that somewhere else is great. Yeah, no, I mean, that's 100% true. That's actually one of the things I like about working relationships is that it gives your talent a chance to work with other companies and other wrestlers who have different styles. And I think for WWE talent, I mean, AJ Styles is a veteran. He doesn't need practice. He doesn't need to get in the ring with other people, right? But if you are somebody from NXT, it does make sense to get a little bit of that experience, especially if you are a talent from the NIL program. If you are somebody who doesn't have a wrestling background and you're at the Performance Center, WWE sending you to TNA or NWA or some of these smaller companies could actually be quite beneficial for them. Now, in regards to AJ, I would just simply love for him to go to TNA, maybe work a program with somebody, just for the simple fact that I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles. I've always been a huge fan of AJ Styles. I didn't become a fan of AJ Styles, you know, because of WWE. I became a fan of AJ Styles because of his work inside of TNA. What he did for that X division and then eventually becoming a world champion and just, you know, seeing what he's done. Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles, like, that's what made me a fan of AJ Styles, right? If he goes to TNA for a one-off, I think it would be great. I love the idea of a working relationship. There's just so many benefits to it. I think one thing that's made a working relationship really cool to see is how like AEW and New Japan have had matchups that typically wouldn't be able to happen unless they had a working relationship. And I think if that thing is applied to not even just WWE and TNA, but essentially all wrestling companies, it's just a really cool thing. Speaking of talent share, obviously, Jordynne Grace has an open challenge, and there's been a lot of talks about who might be showing up. And one of the big things that's being discussed here is Jordynne Grace's open challenge and having it being answered by Tatum Paxley. Now, this actually aligns very well with what I just said about NXT talent being given an opportunity to switch it up, work at different places, get an opportunity to work with different styles, different environments, different crowds. There's just a lot of benefits to it. Tatum Paxley showing up tonight at TNA against all odds, it just makes a lot of sense. Obviously, WWE and TNA have a storyline together with the Roxanne and Jordynne Grace match. Obviously, Tatum Paxley got involved trying to steal the TNA Knockouts Championship. And I just think that's so fascinating that in WWE, which, by the way, they just launched a women's mid-card title belt, but by even having Tatum Paxley take a little bit of excitement towards another belt that's not even in the WWE. I just think that's really cool. I think it shows that WWE and TNA's relationship could be really good. And here's the great thing, right? Roxanne beat Jordynne Grace, and it wasn't absolutely clean, but now Jordynne Grace could beat Tatum Paxley, and it doesn't affect Tatum Paxley, and it doesn't hurt WWE in the slightest. It's like one of those situations when there's a working relationship where even if you lose or if you win, like everybody still benefits from it. That's kind of the way that I'm seeing it. Look, there's tons and tons of rumors that WWE and TNA are going to be sending more talent. There's rumors that Tatum Paxley might not be alone. I'm a huge fan of that. And I think for TNA, against all odds, on TNA Plus, it's super exciting to think that even WWE is sending their talent out to a TNA show. And look, Tatum Paxley's not the biggest name, but she is somebody who is really character driven, and she's not bad in the ring at all. I feel like she's going to make something like this work. And then you have to also factor in Brooks Jensen. Brooks Jensen is somebody who's been teasing going to TNA. So is tonight the night where it happens? I don't know, but I want to see how this all goes down. And I just think, if you got Brooks Jensen and Tatum Paxley going to TNA tonight at TNA against all odds, I think that's great. Obviously, they're not on the level of AJ, but it has to also make sense for AJ to go into TNA. You can't just do it for the surprise factor. You want to do it in a way that fits your television show from a creative standpoint. And those are the two names that right now creatively make the most sense. Now we'll see obviously what happens. There are surprises planned for TNA against all odds, and that's actually one of the benefits to TNA Plus, guys. If you're not on TNA Plus, it's such a little cost per month, but now you're getting the show every Thursday and you're getting these specials. I just think it makes so much more sense. But like I said, it's not the only surprise, because Jeff Hardy appears to be gone from AEW. We got to talk about this because this is quite shocking. According to Fightful, Jeff Hardy's deal has expired as of, today. He signed with AEW in 2022. There was obviously some legal trouble for Jeff Hardy, and I think that really stopped a lot of the momentum for Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy. It's unfortunate that I even have to say this, but I'm going to say this because I think some people are going to hate that I say this. But Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy going to TNA is far better than Matt and Jeff Hardy going to WWE. And I'm saying this because Matt and Jeff Hardy, the broken gimmick, that was really established well in TNA. It wasn't that great in WWE, even when they gave a hint of it. I also want to point out that Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, while they are legends of the business, I don't know what else they have to give to the business. And unless they were working in NXT with younger up-and-coming talent, I don't really see a benefit of them going to WWE. So at the end of the day, I'm rather much more favor the idea of them working in TNA, working with some of the young and up-and-coming talent. It didn't work out for them in AEW. I'm not going to say that they flopped in AEW. I'm not going to say they were booked poorly in AEW. I feel like maybe there was some different times of opportunity where things could have been better. But ultimately, Jeff and Matt Hardy were the nostalgia tag team act in the company. And I think once the legal trouble started setting in, once Jeff Hardy was in the headlines, I think that really derailed everything. And unfortunately for Tony Khan, it was something that he had to deal with and he had to make a tough decision. And it just doesn't seem like AEW deserves the blame for that. I'm not shilling for AEW, but in this particular situation, I don't think it's a fair assessment to say that AEW ruined Matt and Jeff Hardy. I think he tried. He gave them their original music. Like, it's not their fault. I think Jeff kind of ruined it for everybody. I hate to say that. Don't know what's going to happen next. And obviously, with him and Matt and TNA, I just want them to do well. And if you guys didn't watch the Hardy Compound cinematic match with the System and Matt Hardy, guys, you should probably go and watch that. It is excellent. It is wonderful. All right. Yeah, that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.